So what's going on, social media land groupies? Steve Crow here. Now I just want to talk about some politics of a different nature at this moment in time. I want to talk about hometown politics. Now, hometown politics ain't nothing like national politics, but they're still politics nonetheless. Everything that you do in your hometown, every person that you get elected and vote for in your hometown or is in charge in your hometown, whatever choices they decide is exactly what's going to impact you, your family, your community, and all that good stuff. And then it starts out. You know, the corruption didn't start out in Washington, D.C. It worked its way up. Just like the Clintons started out in Arkansas corrupt and went all the way to the White House, and they screwed up everything in between. They got every little connection they could along the way. That's how they got a hold of all these people to collude with them to corrupt the system. Because as you make friends in your career, every different position you go up into, you make friends that get corrupt. You scratch their back, they scratch yours. You know what I'm saying? And then here you go. Then you got corruption that's like a plague. It's like a damn disease that goes all throughout the body of America. And you got to fight it at source. So in our hometowns, it's very important because that's where it starts out at. People get elected in your hometowns, in your districts, then they get elected in your states, then they work up to the national level. So everybody that you elect in your hometown, that's going to impact you directly face to face. And one of the most important positions that you could elect in your hometown is the people that is going to be judging you. The people that's going to look at you and decide, are they going to judge by the law or are they going to justify whatever they believe by the law in order to hand out whatever punishment you're going to get? You know what I mean? Somebody might not like you. They might not like who you voted for. You elect the liberals. The next thing you know, guess what? They're going to rule based on however they feel like ruling, and it's going to impact you directly. That's why people start out. You start out on the small courts in your counties and cities and stuff like that. Before you know it, somebody might be on the Supreme Court. That's why people like Brett Kavanaugh was a big deal, because it impacts millions of people whenever it comes to the Supreme Court. It sets precedent that goes across the whole nation. So electing a judge starting out in your hometown is a very important process. So with me, I'm going to talk about hometown politics for just a second. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am from the backwoods of eastern Kentucky. All right? My hometown is known for its dueling barrels. And I'm not talking about the distillery, even though they make some really good beer. Really good beer. I'm talking about Hatfield-McCoy country, where we're used to seeing family feuds and people shooting each other, stuff like that. It's part of the history. But now, we got a new family feud going on. And this specific family feud ain't got nothing to do with the Hatfield and McCoys, but it is smack dab in the middle of the electoral process between two candidates for district judge in Division 1, which is Robbie Wright and Amber Hunt Sisco. Now, Amber Hunt Sisco, she's a fresh name. She's a fresh face. She's a woman, and there ain't very many people who really have heard of her. You drop her name, nobody really knows who you're talking about until she started running this campaign, doing her ads, handing out her flyers, knocking door to door, la-di-da. But everybody knows. Everybody knows who Robbie Wright is. Everybody's heard his name throughout the county. All right? Everybody knows who he is because he's been around for a long time. He's represented people for a long time. So, remember that. Because what we've got here is an experienced lawyer and a fresh-faced lawyer. Now, from what I gather on the internet and what people said and what facts I can research, Amber Hunt Sisco ain't even, she ain't even had, maybe I'll give her credit and say a few hundred. All right? And that might be pushing it. She might have had a few hundred cases. She ain't breached 1,000. Okay? Robbie Wright, on the other hand, has had over 14,000 cases that he's handled, that he's represented people in. So, you got experience versus inexperience. And that's one big factor in this election. And they was both running their campaigns, but the problem was, Amber Hunt Sisco, she had a lot of good things to say. She said all the right stuff that people wanted to hear and whatnot, but everybody has a problem with not doing the research, not looking into everybody, seeing their problems, their backstories, what's going on, are they corrupt, are they not, all that good stuff. Now, as far as I can tell, Amber Hunt Sisco's only got one major problem that come out, and that's the family feud part of this segment, all right? See, her father-in-law is Eugene Sisco, and he was a prosecutor who had, in his time, right at 40,000 cases that went through his desk, went through his hands, that he handled himself, right at 40,000. And he had to speak out. He reached out to Robbie Wright, basically told him, I'm going to endorse you because this is my daughter-in-law and she's booted me out of the family. She won't let me see the grandkids. She won't let my other daughter see the grandkids and all that good stuff. He went to the school to volunteer. Now, you go to the school, you're not going to be able to hang out with your grandkids, go play basketball with them, take them out to eat and all that good stuff. You might get a glimpse of them from time to time. You're volunteering at school just so you can kind of see them because they're your grandchildren. They're your blood. But he got served with an EPO and he got escorted off school property. He ain't been allowed to be around his grandchildren because in Kentucky there's no such thing as grandparents' rights, all right? Now, the thing that got me out of that situation is the fact that the aunt to them grandchildren, all right, Eugene Sisco's other daughter, she ain't got to see the kids either. So whenever Amber Hunt Sisco started to explain herself, she said that, stuff like he was power hungry, money hungry, all that good stuff, blah, blah, blah. And she was protecting her children, protecting them from the right interest. And she tried to use that for part of her campaign slogan to tell everybody that she was protecting her children and that she would do the same thing for your children. She would protect them. The problem I got with that is this guy was a prosecutor. He ain't done nothing illegal. He wasn't arrested for nothing illegal. So it was a personal disagreement. And this is one of those things where personal investment has got me a little bit biased on some of this stuff because I've had some experience where women like using their children as weapons against somebody in order to get them to do what you want them to do, be the person they want them to be. And if you draw the line and you don't help out or you don't do things, and they want you to be the bad guy, and they will use children as a way to hurt you. And in reality, it's only hurting the children. That's a whole nother topic for another day. Now, I don't know exactly what Eugene did, what the prosecutor did to be able to not see his grandchildren. She's not coming out and telling everybody the exact specifics of everything, so everybody's got to use their own imagination. And most people's like, well, he must have done something bad. Well, you never know. He's somebody with money. Maybe his son didn't get his way. Maybe they're far left liberals. And I can already tell you that I ain't looked into either one of these candidates, but judging by the way that she is running her campaign, I think she's Democrat. And Robbie Wright, I think he's a Republican, from what my opinion is. I have no earthly idea if that's truth or not. But you can research that for yourself just by the way they're acting, though. And that leads me to wonder, did the son growing up despise his dad because he didn't get what he wanted all the time? Because, daddy could go do this, that, or the other. And, something's going on there, but they won't tell everybody what it is. So we just got to judge for ourselves and kind of wonder what the hell's going on. But it does make you want to wonder. Now, she said she protected people. She protected her children against him. That's why she kept him from him. More or less, if he's not a pedophile, he's not abusing them or any of that stuff, it's personal agreements, and you should be able to sever the line as an adult between me getting along with, the mother of my children or the grandparents of my children. And I'm somebody who gets, I work with current wife's family, ex-wife's family, ex-in-laws. I get along with just about everybody. And I can try to mediate things with just about anybody within reason, So it's one of those things where you would think that, as an adult, you'd be like, I can't stand you, I hate your guts. But here's the thing, if you want to come see the kids, you got so many minutes, they could work something out. Like I said, though, I don't know. You just leave it up to your imagination. But that come out, and then Amber decided, that she was going to not play so nice in her campaigns. And I can kind of understand that if she's being outed and attacked for something that she did. And, in her mind, it might be something good, but at the same time, it might also be something bad. So it makes you wonder what type of judgment she's using, what he done so bad. Could it be something that you do so bad that she decides, you know what, you don't need custody of your children, and I'm going to have them removed from your care? You got to think about that stuff. If it's just a simple disagreement, is she going to be the type of judge that does that within reason? Because something like that, there's a lot of wiggle room for judges to be able to say, I'm removing them, I'm taking them, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and the system's corrupt anyhow. CPS is corrupt all across the nation. So it makes people wonder these things. Whereas Robbie Wright was just, Eugene Sisco reached out to him and he aired it. He let people know, here you go, here's the information I received. But with Robbie Wright, Amber decided to hit back. She decided to tell everybody, oh, he was a drunk and he was a drug addict and an alcoholic and he had his license revoked and la-di-da, which is all true. And that does look bad on people. Oh, it does. It does. He could, you could never be on the Supreme Court because the Democrats would tear your ass apart. But locally, here's the way I look at it. Robbie Wright's had over 14,000 cases, so he knows what he's doing. But she said in one of her interviews, and I will share it onto my page, and you all can judge for yourself, or I'll put the link somewhere in the comments so you can judge for yourself what she said. But she was talking about Robbie Wright saying all these things, and she said that it's going to be a revolving door of criminals in and out. And that's all Robbie Wright has to offer, basically, is a revolving door of criminals. So to me, she's saying that everybody that Robbie represented is criminals, which means she's saying that they're all guilty. And it's a revolving door of crime and drugs, and that's who he represents. So everybody who has to have a lawyer like Robbie Wright must be a criminal. You must be guilty until proven innocent, I reckon. That's what it said to me, and that's what kind of pissed me off the most, because until that moment, I was kind of thinking she was doing pretty good as a candidate. But the way she said it makes me feel like, she judges people and looks at people and who he represented and says they're all criminals, they're all dope heads, they're all just a revolving door, and somebody like him's a horrible person. He was a dope head and he was a drunk himself. You should vote for me. But the problem with that is everybody needs a lawyer from time to time, and that doesn't mean because you got a lawyer that you are guilty. It doesn't mean that it's going to be a revolving door of criminals and dope heads in and out because you got a lawyer. And whenever she said that they keep getting in and out, he gets all these people out. That's the job of the lawyer. That says to me that he's doing his job. If people are going in, that he knows the law good enough to tell the judges, here's the circumstances, here's the case, here's the law, here's my client, here's the facts. And the judge looked at it and the judges said, okay, you're right. Let him go. Here's their bond. Here's how many times. Here's how many months they're going to spend. Because it's not Robbie Wright's call if they get put back out on the street. It's the judge's call. But she was basically condemning him and everybody that went to him. And he was doing his job. And he must be doing a damn good job doing his job if it's such a revolving door. Or those people probably didn't do the bad crimes that everybody wants to think that they're guilty of. I mean, to me, that says he done a damn good job as a lawyer. So you got those things. Now, as far as Robbie Wright goes, he admitted that he had problems. And he did. He went into court that way. He got in trouble for it. He temporarily got in trouble for it with his lifeline, his license. But you know what? He manned up. He went and he got help. He got rehab. He done the things that he needed to do to get help and get his life back on track and save his life from being destroyed. Which means Robbie Wright's got one unique thing compared to her in common. She can sit back and judge people based off of whatever's going on. He knows by experience what it's going to take to get these people the help that they need when they're in front of him. And he will be able to use that experience to look at them and pass a judgment and say, you know what? You're going to go get help, and you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and that's going to be it. He has the experience because he knows what it's like. He knows how easy it is, how hard it is to do all that stuff. So he's going to know when people's presenting in front of him what he's dealing with. And nobody that he represented, I think, is allowed to be able to be in front of him as a judge. So they have to see another judge. So, I mean, that's all positives. He's got all that experience. He's got the experience with the good. He's got the experience with the bad. And he is a damn good lawyer, apparently, to get as many cases and as many people in and out as he has. And he hasn't judged nobody. He hasn't said everybody that she represents as criminals. He didn't say that stuff. And one more tidbit to top it off is I've talked to quite a few people about where they go knocking door to door. And I've met a few different candidates. I was just trick-or-treating at Robbie's house yesterday, and he was going out greeting people, talking to people, real nice guy. But that man talks to you whether you're poor or not. And I know that she's went out campaigning, but I haven't heard not one person from a trailer park anywhere say, yeah, she stopped by here. But is she going to judge certain people as already being dope heads or addicts or already guilty or not? It makes you wonder how she looks at people. And that's what upsets me the most. That's what people should think about the most, because you might go in there one day and her just look at you and be like, yeah, he's a dope head. Yeah, he's a criminal. and then pass judgment on you and use the law to justify it. Buck up against the lawyers that's in there in front of her. It's just 1,000 different things. Now, nobody's paying me to say this. I'm not officially going to endorse anybody, but me personally, I'm voting for Robbie Wright. All because of that commercial she made herself. Because that said enough for me how she worded it. But I like taking apart all ends of the spectrum. But if you are from Eastern Kentucky, let me know your thoughts on this situation. Just let me know. Comment below.